On this week's Glanbia Ireland Dairy Focus Vodcast, we'll hear from open source future farmer Donal Kavanagh, an Aoife leader of Teagasc, on the importance of biodiversity on farm. And we'll also hear from TJ Phelan, a member of the sustainability team, on the importance of the closed period and nitrogen and phosphorus losses there. Now we'll hear from TJ Phelan, a member of the Glanbia Ireland sustainability team, on the importance of the closed period and nitrogen and phosphorus losses during this time.
Hi, so today I want to discuss with you some tips around nitrogen and phosphorus losses during the closed period. And really what is often referred to as calendar farming, today I want to briefly discuss the logic behind the closed period for applying both chemical and organic fertilisers, which is otherwise known as slurry and farmyard manure. So the closed period for applying chemical fertiliser, as we all know, began on the 15th of September, with the 15th of October for land spreading slurry and the 1st of November for farmyard manure. And now I really want to just take a closer look, and in particular with relation to slurry and as to why there is a closed period for land spreading of slurry. We may often hear that land was trafficable after the start of the closed period, and for example we may hear someone say ground conditions are better in November than they were in September, October, but really in truth all research would clearly point out that this isn't the case. October is typically the period when rainfall has caught up with and filled the soil's capacity to store water, and we will witness more prominent water runoff. So likewise from October onward, plant growth and its ability for nutrient uptake from the soil has begun to decline, and there is a very low nutrient demand by the grass crop with a very low recovery of soil nutrients over the winter period. So obviously for nutrients to be lost from soils we need available nutrient sources, and that being nitrogen and phosphorus. We also need water movement to transport the nutrients by either overland flow or leaching down through the soil. Nutrients that are applied later in the spreading season may not be fully utilised by the crop and may remain in the soil at the start of the closed period. And again, once these soils become wet, these nutrients can be dissolved in the water that is being drained or flushed from the soil surface to runoff water. So really to summarise, as much slurry as possible should be applied throughout the growing season, and avoid applying slurry later in the season. Once soils are saturated and growth has declined, excess nutrients left in the soil are vulnerable to losses. So again, it's really important that we are making the best use of these nutrients and that we have the required storage facilities available to ensure that we are not applying slurry when conditions are unsuitable or unfavourable.
Now we'll hear from our open source future farmer Donal Kavanagh and Teagasc's Aoife leader on the importance of biodiversity on farm.
And I'm here with Donal Kavanagh, who is a farmer in the Glanbia Teagasc Open Source Future Farm Monitor Farm programme, and we're talking all about hedges. So Donal, you have about 9 kilometres of hedgerow on your farm. Why are they so important?
Yeah, for me I suppose it's very important for shelter for cows for one reason, and the other thing then is more importantly I suppose biodiversity is going to be big, and there's a good range. I know I have a good range of different types of trees all through the hedges here. So we have blackthorn, whitethorn, dog rose, brambles, ivy. So there's good cover there for birds for the winter and that. So it's important for me to maintain that and keep that right going forward. So then I suppose for cutting the hedges, I like to try and keep them high, but also maybe a slope on them so that there's good cover there, so that that they can grow fairly high and keep that. Also select the different trees that would be nice to let them on up and give them a bit more cover. I planted that 2 years ago, blackthorn, whitethorn. So this year now I'm going to cut it down very low. But before I do that I'm going to select maybe spacings, maybe every 100 metres, and just let some of the better trees there on up and don't cut them at all. And we'll put a marker on them, so going forward then we'll have them in the hedge, and we'll give good cover and have nice trees there as well. The contractors, I explained some of the things anyway about maybe every 300 metres, but I'd like a bit more. I'd like maybe every 100 metres, and then if one fails or whatever you're still well covered, and maybe leave 2 if there's 2 there, and you can select again after if you want to, 2 or 3 years down the road or whatever. But you need to tell him that and make sure he knows what you want.
For more information on any of the topics covered in this week's Glanbia Ireland Dairy Focus Vodcast, contact your local Glanbia Ireland representative or log on to glanbiaconnect.com.